We've been in the business now 13 years. We have always been a software engineering company from the get-go, focused primarily on building advanced software solutions. Over the years, primarily in the regulated and near regulated industries, so a lot of work in the medical device space, pharmaceutical, fintech. So at the beginning, and we've always been involved for the last about 8 years in blockchain technologies, building several blockchains and various dApps and smart contracts.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are very excited to have our guest, Mr. Wes Crook from FP Complete. And we'll be diving into his story a little bit today, as well as what it is his company does and some gauging insights into the technology industry. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Wesley, welcome. And please, if you don't mind, just to quickly introduce yourself.
Thank you, sir. My name is Wes Crook. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of FP Complete. Been with the company now for almost 6 years running the company. So thank you for having me on, Trey.
Excellent. Tell me, Wes, if you don't mind, if we can maybe just dive right into it, how did you specifically get into this business sector? What was it that, sparked your initial interest and what you're so passionate about?
Well, I've been in this business 39 years now
Oh,
this year.
wow. Oh, wow.
So going back to 1986, I just
Yeah.
needed a job coming out of college. And I ended up starting off as a field technician for a IBM computer VAR, and primarily spent the next 25 years in infrastructure, doing infrastructure type work. And then about 2012, 2013, started getting interested in automation and how we automate the infrastructure and things like that, which kind of drove me into software engineering, which is what I've been doing here for the last 12 years, is working with software engineering companies, helping customers, deliver technology primarily at the infrastructure level, through automation, through the back-end services that we do, things of that nature. So solving complex problems in the regulated industry space, just trying to make things better and easier for the average user to use.
You're very, very, very much interesting. Tell me, Wes, based on your expertise, I mean, you've been around for quite a long time, right? And your background's quite colorful. What are the current market trends that you would say that you currently are aware of? What way is the wind blowing these days?
Well, it's funny because, everybody's hearing the hype about AI and how AI is going to revolutionize the world, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I think AI is going to help accelerate iteration for certain sectors and certain pieces, but it's not going to take over the world, not going to take over the jobs that everybody's worried about. So I think there's a lot of hype in that space right now. I think we're seeing a lot of that play out. What people don't realize, if you're into the green movements, the amount of energy and carbon emissions that are being generated by these so-called data centers are huge. So we got to solve that problem before we can really drive AI into everyday use at a fair footprint of carbon emission.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of I see a lot of folks, just kind of doing the same thing. No one's really trying to solve new, really creative problems. It's just everybody seems to be solving the same 5 or 6 problems out there, particularly in our space, in the blockchain Web3 space. Everybody's trying to solve the whole DeFi, perp swaps, options trading, games, things of that nature. But no one's, what I'm seeing out there is technology is not really trying to make technology disappear, so to say. Where the average user doesn't really care what the technology. If you go back into the early 2000s with the web, .com bomb or boom before bomb,
Yeah.
everybody had to know what HTTPS was. Everybody had to kind of go through difficulty getting there. Now it's just go on your phone, speak to it, and it gives you the answer. So just making technology become behind the scenes. I think there's a lot of effort to do that. I think there's a lot of effort to simplify the world. I think in enterprise space, with corporates, I think people are recognizing They have a lot of tech debt. They have a lot of tech bloat. They have a lot of unskilled labor trying to be technical, which has caused a lot of bloat in their operating costs for IT technology. And
Yeah.
I think they're trying to figure out ways to reduce that. I think the industry or people are figuring out that cloud technology, although is good,
Mhm.
somewhat, the Amazons and the Microsofts of the world, the Googles, the Oracles, they're not so much trying to help you solve your problem as to make a lot of money doing it, because, most companies that have gone to the cloud do not leverage the cloud properly. So their
Yeah.
expenses are high in that space. They're not addressing the problem from the front end, which is you need to build your applications and architect your applications to actually leverage cloud technology, just not throw it up there and say, let's go. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the industry, but I think a lot of it right now is around consolidating what's real and what needs to be solved and taking that cost out. So I think we're kind of in that, getting ready for that next wave of technology innovation.
Tell me, Wes, having said that, what would you say is the current market sentiment like?
I think it's one of caution. I think there's a lot of things going on. Obviously, everybody's hearing about the Bitcoin, a rally going on, or
Yeah.
the crypto winter ending and going to a crypto bull. I think, the crypto space is an interesting space, but it's really the underlying technology, which is fascinating,
Yeah.
with blockchain smart contracts, but then reconciling that to a business environment that's not necessarily transparent or wants to be transparent. So we got to reconcile that space. I think you're seeing, corporate America realizing that if they don't innovate, they're going to be history. And you're seeing it with, a lot of big companies, even Google starting to kind of, even though they're huge, starting to have to rethink how they do business. Microsoft went through it, moving away from their Windows and operating system base into cloud a couple of years ago, 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Um, things like that. So I think you're going to have to see technology companies make some changes to what they're doing. I think the investment communities, I think the private equity guys are starting to figure out, we got to have a real business here, not just throw money at the wall on some guy's idea on a napkin or a business plan, that
Mm.
have some real results here, has some real profit making capabilities. So I think there's a lot going on here. I guess maturing the space again more, making people more accountable for their actions versus just saying, "Oh, here's some cool technology. Give me $1 billion," and it goes boom, and it's like,
Yeah.
sorry, go on to the next thing. But actually, what are you doing with that $1 billion or $1 million
Yeah.
or you're getting, and actually delivering results? So I think that's a big thing going on right now that we're seeing out there with companies. They're wanting to see results, not just ideas.
Tell me, Wes, if you don't mind, just to explain to the listeners, what is it that your company does?
Well, FP Complete, we've been in the business now 13 years. We have always been a software engineering company from the get-go, focused primarily on building advanced software solutions. Over the years, primarily in the regulated and near regulated industries, so a lot of work in the medical device space, pharmaceutical, fintech.
Oh, okay.
Though, so at the beginning, and we've always been involved for the last about 8 years in blockchain technologies, building several blockchains and various dApps and smart contracts. At the
Mm.
beginning of 2024, we made the full pivot into Web3. So we're fully focused into the Web3 space, building various dApps, blockchain smart contracts for our client base. Typical customers of founder or visionary who has some money, has a project idea, but they're
Yeah.
struggling to get the revenues. And there's a lot of folks in that space, that even though they're very bright and very smart, they don't know how to build industrial and scalable software. So they build what they know, and that does not necessarily translate into a successful application or protocol or what have you. So that's what we do. We help our clients get their products and projects to revenue quickly. We have the expertise on the front end, the back end, and on the infrastructure to do all that. And we, our level of expertise is high. We build in very strong languages like Rust
Oh
um,
yeah.
for our work. And if you look at what we do, most of our customer base comes to us after they've spent a year or two with a development team out of India or just a couple of smart guys and never have gotten to revenue. And it was supposed to have been done in 6 months. We're sitting at a year and a half. They bring us in, we do what we do, get it done in 4, 5, 6 months and out the door. So that's who we are, and that's what we do.
If you don't mind, can we maybe please just talk a bit more about the value that you guys bring to your clients? Uh, Twofold question. What would you say is like one of the strongest value points that your business bring to other businesses? And then secondly, if you don't mind, maybe to explain a bit of a case study or just like a typical client where you guys would come in and solve some challenges for them.
Well, I think our biggest value to our customers is we have a proven history of over 100 plus projects that we've delivered.
Wow.
Within the blockchain space specifically, we have done about 30 projects. The last 15 of our projects are still going and still making money for their clients, and they were delivered and they're in operations. So I
Yeah.
think our value to our clients are we absolutely understand the math and science around it. A very clear distinguishing point that I like to make to folks is we're an engineering company, not a software development company. The big difference is software developers take requirements and just deliver those requirements by writing software code. As engineers, we deconstruct not only
Okay.
algorithms and all the math and science behind it, but we want to make sure what we're building is really what we're building. Because a lot of times business owners have ideas, they get some architecture in place, but it's not fully vetted. So you run into these problems of I want this. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I want that. So,
Yeah.
so
That happens quite a lot.
absolutely happens all the time, and that's where you run out of money. That's where you run into project overlays. That's where you get into some Frankenstein of software applications that become very highly unsecure and very prone to security threats and vectors that can jeopardize the business, lose money, things of that nature. So if you're in the space of regulated industry, you don't want to be losing money. You don't want to be losing data because that's the business. To give you some case in points of what we do, what we've done, like 4 projects we're doing right now. All 4 of those projects, the founder of the company, the CEO of the company, had a development team, CTO in place. They spent what should have been 5, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months building the product and getting it to market for revenue. They were into 2 to 3 year places. One company came in, they'd spent 2 years and $10 million. We came in behind them, re-architected, delivered in 7 months for a little under 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Project has over is a perpetual swaps platform
Yeah.
that in the blockchain space that's done about 4.5 billion in trading volume in a year and a half and generating a profit for them every month in fees. We had another customer, same type of thing. They spent the classic, oh, you guys cost too much, so they go off to an India team that's cheap. 3 years later, I don't know how many millions later, they had a product that actually got delivered, but it didn't work. It had full of holes. It was always down. We came in, re-architected it, redid the algorithms for them because their algorithms were wrong,
Yeah.
and built that in 6 months and went to market. And now they're just into getting into market, and all results are good. The application works. They're building user base, getting close to break even platform. So that's our case. What we do, we come in and we solve the problem, and we are with you all the way through the problem. We're not just 1 or 2 developers. We're a team of about 45 engineers all over the world. Some of the best minds in the space that we do. And a lot of my guys don't come from classic software, computer science. They actually come from physicists, chemists,
Oh,
math
that kind of background.
actuaries, people that are real math and science guys that learned to write software because they loved it. And that's kind of what drove us to, what makes us so good. Because we want to really understand the kernel of the problem before we start
Yeah.
writing software.
That sounds like really good value that you guys are bringing. That's excellent. Tell me, in your opinion, what type of mindsets you've been obviously doing this for quite some time. What type of mindset would you say is needed to be a successful, maybe founder, maybe CEO, in a company?
Oh, I think a couple of things. One, you don't know all the answers. You have no idea what you don't know. Two, be very humble. Don't get on your high horse and have an ego that you're the CEO of a company or what have you. You're a servant. Your people are what's going to make you succeed or fail, not you. So I think that's a big part of it. Just have a vision, get the smartest people you can and afford around you. Have your network of non-funded, partners or friends, friends of the firm that you can pick up the phone and call and have a conversation with. Hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Just so you can gather information. But then when you make that decision to what you're going to do it. Don't alter course. Pick a plan A, then have B, C, and D all lined up as well. But don't get into this habit of just because the market says, somebody in Discord or somebody on LinkedIn says you got to be doing this, or the latest trends over here. Just stay the course and stay focused, and have your plan laid out with the success failure check marks. It's like, hey, are we succeeding or do we need to course correct? Yeah. And not listen to the outside noise, and trust your team to go do what they do.
That's excellent advice. And then, I'm thinking now about the younger businessman or woman that's wanting to enter the market. If you don't mind to share maybe one or two things that you would say that, up until now, what you've learned in your career, maybe one or two that you think made a big difference into your growth.
I think one of the biggest things in my growth is having mentors along the way. Finding people much smarter than you that have been ahead of you. Don't actually drink all the Kool-Aid they throw at you, but take it and understand where they're coming from. I think that's a big factor. And I think the other factor is, for young entrepreneurs, I see a lot of people kind of doing the TikTok thing, or they're trying to be social media stars or whatever with their businesses. If that's what you want to be, go do that. But if you want to be a technologist or an engineering or software development company, be that and use the marketing around it to get your brand out, but don't make you the star of the show. I mean, I think you see too much of this with Elon Musk and these guys, in MySpace and the blockchain Web3 world, all these things, with personalities trying to pump the markets and drive the technology. Yeah. And it's really just a flame out scenario. I mean, it's not sustainable long term. And if it's really what you want to do, and you have a very clear goal inside of what you want to accomplish as a human being, stay true to that and go do it.
Excellent. Wesley, I need to thank you for your time. Tell me, where can they get hold of you guys?
You can get a hold of me at WCrook, W-C-R-O-O-K, at fpcomplete.com. Our website is fpblock.com. You can get a hold of us through that. And we're on all the socials, on Twitter, or X as it's called now. We're also out there on LinkedIn, both myself and the company and other members of the team. So reach out any way that you feel comfortable for communicating.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your contribution. I can fully understand why you guys are so successful the way you are. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Wesley.
Thank you. Have a great day. Appreciate your time, Trey.
Take care.